For years, Sarah Ferguson sold the same story. She and Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor weren't really divorced. Not emotionally, anyway. They were, in her words, the happiest divorced couple in the world. They still lived together. They celebrated holidays together. They raised their daughters together. Fergie constantly described Andrew as her soulmate, insisting they had simply found a different kind of marriage that worked. It became one of the most unusual relationships in the royal family, and for decades, many people accepted that explanation. But now, that carefully crafted image is being challenged. Royal biographer Andrew Lownie says the public has been sold a fantasy. According to him, the famous story about unwavering devotion was never the full truth. Instead, he argues, it was a convenient arrangement that benefited both of them. And now, with the couple no longer living under the same roof, critics say that carefully maintained narrative has finally fallen apart. Here's what they're saying. One of the biggest reasons Andrew and Fergie's relationship fascinated people was because it seems so different from every other royal divorce. Most divorced couples move on, but Andrew and Fergie didn't. Even after officially divorcing in 1996, they continued living together for years. They appeared together at family events, enjoyed holidays together. Fergie remained a regular presence in Andrew's life despite no longer being a working royal. Whenever people questioned the arrangement, she always had the same answer. She insisted they were divorced from marriage, but not from each other. She called Andrew the greatest man she knew. She described him as her family, her best friend, and even said she still loved him. Those interviews helped create one of the most enduring royal myths of the last 3 decades. But Andrew Lownie believes the reality was far less romantic. Speaking to the Daily Mail, Lownie said that the relationship ever rang hollow. His argument is straightforward. He says the couple were having affairs very early in their marriage, long before the public fairy tale about lifelong devotion emerged. In other words, according to Lownie, the idea that Andrew and Fergie shared some extraordinary emotional connection after divorce simply doesn't match what was happening behind closed doors years earlier. Lownie goes even further. He argues there were practical reasons for staying close that had nothing to do with romance. According to him, continuing to live with Andrew allowed Fergie to maintain her royal status without many of the costs that normally come with that lifestyle. He claims living rent-free saved her enormous amounts of money while keeping her connected to the royal family. Those royal connections also helped support her commercial ventures. That's an important point because Fergie spent years rebuilding her finances. After leaving royal duties, she pursued book deals, television appearances, speaking engagements, business partnerships, and countless commercial projects. Her royal title remained one of her biggest assets. Being seen alongside Andrew reinforced that connection. Lownie argues the arrangement worked for both sides. Andrew had familiar company, Fergie retained access to royal prestige. Whether people agree with that interpretation or not, it presents a very different explanation than the love story Fergie often described publicly. Richard Fitzwilliams has also questioned the narrative. He believes the famous happiest divorced couple image served another purpose. According to Fitzwilliams, the arrangement allowed both Andrew and Fergie to maximise the benefits of Andrew's royal position while avoiding many of the normal consequences of divorce. His assessment is blunt. He argues they were united less by romance than by shared interests. He even described them as being connected by entitlement and mutual convenience, rather than some extraordinary lifelong bond. Those comments are significant because Fitzwilliams has spent decades commenting on the royal family. He's watched this relationship evolve in real time, and now he's saying the public explanation no longer holds up. Of course, this isn't the first time people have questioned Andrew and Fergie's marriage. Almost from the beginning, it faced enormous strain. Andrew's naval career kept him away from home for long periods. Fergie later admitted she often felt lonely. Within just a few years, stories about infidelity surrounded the marriage. The most infamous moment came in 1992, when photographs emerged showing American businessman John Bryan kissing Fergie's toes while she was on holiday in France. The images exploded around the world. The royal family was reportedly furious. The marriage never recovered. But even after those events, Fergie consistently defended Andrew. She rarely criticised him publicly. Instead, she doubled down on the message that they remained deeply connected, despite no longer being husband and wife. That consistency made the story believable to many people. Today, critics argue, it also made the narrative remarkably durable. Another interesting part of their relationship has always been the financial side. Unlike several other senior royals, Fergie experienced very public money problems after her divorce. Over the years, there were reports of mounting debts, failed business ventures, expensive lifestyles, and controversial financial decisions. She accepted commercial deals that other members of the royal family generally avoided. There were also embarrassing episodes, including the infamous 2010 News of the World sting, where she was secretly filmed appearing to offer access to Andrew in exchange for money. Fergie later apologised, saying she had been in severe financial difficulty. Even then, Andrew reportedly continued supporting her privately. That financial dependence became another reason commentators questioned why they remained so closely linked decades after divorcing. Then there's the question many royal watchers have asked for years. If Andrew and Fergie were truly inseparable, why never remarry? Fergie repeatedly hinted that Andrew was still the love of her life. She often joked they would eventually marry again. She described him as her forever prince. Yet it never happened. Former Royal Press Secretary Dickie Arbiter has previously suggested their relationship worked precisely because they weren't married anymore. The legal obligations had disappeared. The emotional expectations had changed. They could enjoy companionship without the pressures that contributed to the collapse of their marriage in the first place. Others believe there was another reason. Marriage would have brought renewed public scrutiny, financial questions, and constitutional complications. Remaining divorced gave them flexibility, while still allowing them to present a united front. Now attention has turned to their daughters. Several royal commentators have suggested Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie have gradually built lives that are increasingly separate from their parents' public controversies. Former BBC royal correspondent Jenny Bond recently suggested that whatever relationship Eugenie now has with Andrew and Fergie is likely to remain private. That's notable because, for years, the York family projected an image of extraordinary closeness. Family unity became part of the public brand. If that image is becoming less visible, it inevitably raises more questions about whether the family dynamic has quietly changed. Perhaps the biggest takeaway isn't whether Andrew Lownie is completely right. Biographies, especially royal biographies, often spark fierce debate. Supporters of Andrew and Fergie would argue they've simply maintained an unusually close friendship after divorce. Others see genuine loyalty between two people who survived decades of public scandal together. But what's changed is that the alternative explanation is gaining traction. Instead of viewing their relationship as an unconventional love story, more commentators now see it as a practical partnership built around mutual benefit. That interpretation changes almost every famous quote Fergie has given over the past 30 years. The happiest divorced couple in the world suddenly sounds less like a fairy tale and more like careful public relations. Whether that's fair or not is something viewers will have to decide for themselves. But one thing is becoming increasingly clear. The story Andrew and Sarah Ferguson spent decades telling about their relationship is no longer being accepted without question. And for the first time in years, the cover they've maintained for so long appears to be coming apart. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is their relationship genuine, or is there more going on behind the scenes?